this is, as everybody knows here, this is a come as you can. We want to be able to solve a problem or a concern or a barrier that may be going on in your business. So I'll open that up to what, do you have a question or a concern that you'd like to solve today, Robbie?
I just, yeah, my problem is more sleep, more time in my day. You know what I mean? Right now, which is a good thing because it seems like businesses are excited to get back out and get their businesses out there. They're excited, just to kind of get a little bit back to normal. And so, and for me, that keeps me hopping. So I've just been super busy. So just as always, just time management is key.
Love it. Love it. That's been a lot going on lately with time management. I think, Tom, you were on that time management call. What was a lesson that you took that you're using now daily in your business?
I got nothing. No, I'm kidding. One of the things that I like is all work expands to the time allowed. So if you're not following your schedule, or if you don't have a schedule, then yeah, you're going to take way more time doing something, and it's going to be less effective and less intentional.
Good tip. Yes. Work your plan.
That'll cost you a free ad there, Robbie.
You know what, Robbie? That's awesome. Tanner, I'm going to have you send over. I know everybody else got the action, the Eat the Frog action page. Would you put that on your note since you have Robbie's information to send it to her? So yeah, time management, time mastery. Robbie, you're probably going to hate this. Self-mastery is probably the more critical driver that we discuss on this call. And it's always interesting to me. I hear from a lot of high functioning leaders like yourself. Time, right? I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough this. I don't have enough that. I need a 40-hour work day. And I challenge everybody because we're all stuck in that, right? We all do the work, keep moving forward. And it's literally about choices, right, Tom?
It is. I was just kind of laughing because do the work right now is kind of what I was hearing you say.
And I always tell people it's interesting. I mean, you guys have heard me say this. How many of you guys want work-life balance?
Oh, yeah, the myth of that. Yeah.
Yeah, the myth. Hey, I tell everybody go buy a teeter-totter. It's simple. You'll have some balance, get somebody about the same age, weight. You guys can have fun. Other than that, everything we do is about choices. It's all about choices and what choices do we have to make now. And I challenge all of our clients, and I challenge you here today, highest return on investment, highest value of time. So if for Brian, for Andy, for Tanner, for Robbie, for all of us here, the highest value is what and where is the ROI? Right? Where is the return on investment? And so I challenge everybody with this. If each of us has 100 clients and 20 of our clients are paying 80% of our bills because they're the best customers are the A clients. And then we have 80 clients that are taking up 80% of our time and giving us 20% of our income. Where do we need to spend our time?
Right.
And that's where all of us struggle. Go ahead, Tanner, please interject.
I was going to add, with all of us being business owners and such on this call, are we doing employee work? Or are we doing business owner work? Meaning, are we doing the work that pays us once? Or are we doing the work that pays us for a long time, if not forever? The work of an owner is truly meant to be, how do we do the work that's going to pay us long term? And that's where that prioritization comes in. That's where we focus on what are the biggest things that we need to be doing in the business that have the largest impact. I know we talked a little bit about that last week, and I'll let Andy kind of go through what he's drawn up there because it's a pretty powerful chart. But to add on kind of the action list piece. They actually came across a couple more ideas on how to break that down and actually implement from a kind of day-to-day, get in the routine of it. And I can share that here in a minute once Andy's gotten through this piece.
So Robbie, I know you're driving. Please do not look at the screen. I do not need you being hurt on my content. Okay?
Got it.
Okay, so I've drawn this quadrant. Some of you have seen it, some of you have not, but I want to be very critical here for a minute. And so at the top of the page, we're going to put a division sign and we're going to put the number 2000 on the edge there. So the easiest way to do this math equation is this. I'm going to pick the size and scope of the business. You guys are going to play along. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, Tom, I know you're kind of our smack talking, sarcasm, cynicism guy. So I expect
Whoa. I'm the awesome dude with the answers.
that's right, with a touch of sarcasm and cynicism. And even straight smack talk some days.
I gotta go.
All right. So for the ease of use for all of our businesses, here's what I'm going to do. Let's say you have a $250,000 a year business, right? Tanner, get your calculator out because I'm not doing fast math today. So if you have a $250,000 a year business and you divide it by 2,000 hours, why did I pick 2,000 hours, everybody? Because each of you deserve to have 80 hours of vacation. Every business owner, every entrepreneur, every educated person needs to have time away. So we take it 2,000. Tanner, what's the math equation? 250, 200.
125.
325. All right, we're going to put.
No. 125.
Oh,
125.
You see, since I'm the sarcastic know-it-all, 250 divided by 2 would be 125.
Thank you very much, sir. I don't
Dude,
have
I'm
my
living up
fingers
to it
and
for you.
toes enough. So we have $125 an hour your business is worth. Now, so tell me this, in everybody's business, what is the lowest paying position that we do? 15, 12? What do you guys think?
I don't know if I understand the question.
So if you have an employee and they're coming in and they're doing, let's just say administrative work, what would that position pay in your organization?
15.
15. All right, so we'll put $15 an hour right here. So tell me, what would that $15 an hour employee do?
Just back end admin stuff, stuff.
All the stuff that you don't like to do.
So admin, answer phones. Let's talk about paperwork. Let's talk about customer service. So there's that. So what other types of positions do you guys hire for? So if you had somebody in your job that, do you guys have CPAs in your business?
No.
So do you guys have a CPA?
Yes.
Okay, so what do you pay your CPA per hour?
I think he gets like $150 or $200, I think.
Okay, so he gets a couple $100 for an hour or per task?
Mine was like 350 or something like that.
An hour?
Yeah.
Okay, so they're above you on this one, right? So they're over here at 350. So do you guys have bookkeepers? Do you have people that do, like, I always love that. Brian said, stuff I do not want to do, right? So we look at this and it's interesting. As an owner, what are you supposed to be doing in your business?
Money generating activities.
All right, money generating activities. All right, so let's put that over here.
Or income, yeah.
Income. What else are you supposed to be doing?
Well, my job is lead generate, lead follow-up, practicing scripts and role play, negotiating contracts, and going on appointments. Those 5 things.
So, but even bigger than that, what else is your role? How about planning?
Leader.
How about planning? Right? Vision. What is your mission? And then all of those other things of lead generation, cash generation, all of these things. But So if you look at these first three areas of planning, vision, mission, maybe it's HR, maybe it's culture. If you look at both of these lists, which one is visible to the naked eye? Brian's pointing over here, right? These are all visible. Admin, doing the work, customer service, answering the phone, doing paperwork. Yes, it's part of our role, but it's all visible. But over here, when you start talking about to the naked eye, planning, vision, mission, culture, HR, all these things, this is really invisible to the naked eye.
Very true.
It's all that. So what ends up happening is every time that we as business owners, and I'm not saying you're above this, but I want you to focus on time mastery, right? We're talking about self-mastery. As a business owner, how do we use leverage? Because every time you are the business, if you're a $250,000 business, you are worth $125 an hour. Every time that you come over here and do these tasks, your business loses $110 an hour. Every time you get stuck over in this visible line of sight, your businesses lose. Now, there are people out there, well, that's just part of my job. Who else is going to do it? So tell me this, as we look at time mastery, and you as an owner, let's say you leverage this out right here. So let's say I hire somebody for $8, $10, $12, $15 an hour. And so now you're paying $15 an hour to do these roles. And you're over here, if you're generating $125 an hour, it's 110 plus 125, and your hourly rate goes up to 235 because now you're using leverage. Because even though your hourly rate is here, you're doubling down because, okay, I got a $15 an hour employee, maybe it's a little more, maybe it's a little less, but for every hour that person does the work, your generation goes up. And that's what I talk about highest return on investment, highest return on time. We must leverage ourselves. We must play to our strengths. How many of you guys in school or maybe last week heard somebody tell you, you really need to work on that? Tom and I are both laughing about that. When I was in school, I laugh today, but it's so funny to me. And when I was in school, it was always like, you know, your son really needs to learn to sit still and not talk so much. And he's really high strung. So we thought we'd teach him a lesson by having him sit in on recess and just read books. How well do you think that worked out for me?
Went over like a lead balloon.
Yeah. Even my dad was like, you know, you probably just should have had him run around the building like 6 times. He'd have been fine, you know. But and it is funny. It's like, oh, that is funny. But the whole principle is that we must, as business owners, start looking at, as we develop cash flow and we build and generate income into our business and we build and generate profit. The most important part of the business is we have to continually fight the urge to do all the other stuff that we, as Brian said, don't want to do. Right? And then there's that, well, you know, I might as well just do it myself because they'll never do it right. Well, if you continue to do a task without teaching a task, you will continue to do it for a lifetime. That is the rule of thumb. Our job as coaches is to give you a business apprenticeship where you grow your existing business, and it gives you a customized business education in your business. It's pulling all owners out of the visible stuff every day and working on the stuff to help your business grow. That's our role, to help you grow. So, Robbie, you can't do this because you're driving. But for the rest of us, let's make a task of things, a list of things, or a mental note of things right now that you really need to get off your plate that are high time consumption, low income generating.
So while you're thinking about that, I want to just quickly circle back to what I wanted to go through here, because it really ties back into this. And it's in order to determine kind of what those priority tasks are, what's taking up your time now, what needs to be delegated. First and foremost, if you haven't done this yet, do a time block. Sit down, actually line item out as you go through your day. What are you spending your time on? And this is where this is really the first component before you can get into really doing those daily action lists and being very effective with it, is you need to know what you're doing currently. So start with that, because then you can start looking at this chart and figure out what are the pieces that can be delegated, what are the C and D tasks that are not as high priority. So start there, then utilize the action list that we sent out last week. Robbie, I'll send it out to you today. Start doing those. If you can, find somebody you can send it to keep you accountable. Once you've gotten the habit of that, practice prioritizing those tasks. That's kind of step number 2. Once you've got the habit, start the prioritization. Then here's a big component: put a time frame next to each thing. Most people underestimate what they can get done in a particular time frame, or they overestimate how long it's going to take. Most things don't take a full hour if you actually prioritize and focus on it. So start figuring out kind of what that time prioritization is, and then add it to the default calendar.
Tanner, do you have that? Don't we have that simple time study sheet?
Probably.
We'll take a note of that. Maybe Tanner, yes, I know it's there. It's in the dashboard, but we will also find that to send it out to everybody. That's a nice big document that will help everybody with that time study. All right, so thank you for that, Tanner. Everybody come up with a little bitty list, mindset, or something they want to get rid of today.
It's not that simple, Nigel.
That's right. It's not that simple.
I mean, I really would have to sit down and think about it. One of the things that I already have done to get rid of, the stuff that I'm not the best at, which is the minutia around the real estate, which is after something goes under contract, managing all that stuff. That I have somebody that I pay $400 each transaction, because that's a lot of time and not where my talent is and where her talent is. So I've done that, but I guarantee there's other stuff I can do.
Right.
I could write this list forever, but processing shoes, inventory planning, sales, events, bookkeeping, accounting, taxes, etc. There's quite a bit of them. So,
and again, it's all about leverage, right?
Yeah. There's some things that I can incorporate, but they cost a ton of money. Yeah, anyways, there's solutions.
Awesome. Robbie, did any come to your mind as you were driving and listening to others?
So yeah, so my challenge is a little bit, our work day is like because we're get content from our community, from our neighborhood. We are always getting stuff over, through email and that kind of thing. So my day, as you say, spent like Tom, lead generating, meeting with clients, doing all of that kind of stuff. So that's really where my day is best spent. But a lot of the things that come in for us, and our writers write in the night, or they write, and so a lot of times that stuff comes in at night, and it's easier a lot of times for us just to deal with it as it comes in. So that makes it where we work, where there's always it's hard to turn off, so that would be my thing, is to find that person that we could hire that deals with that part of it. So it's not that we're doing that, like, as you say, maybe it is $400 an issue or whatever it happens to be, but but finding that to turn that over, so that's not where my time is spent.
And part of that may be just having somebody that has access to your email. They can go through and go, oh, junk, 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 junk. Here are the 10 things you need to read.
Right, right, exactly, exactly. So, which is maybe defining better what that admin person that I have can do for me.
And that's one of the, I don't know what book it was, but one of the books that I've read was write all those things down that you have to do that you don't like or you're not good at. And then look at there, you just wrote a job description for the person you're going to hire that's going to take that over.
Yeah, right, right, right. So yeah, so taking what Tom is saying and you, Brian, I mean, that just kind of pops out to me.
Love it. Love it. I love this conversation. Again, so think of it also as reactive versus active. So Robbie, if you know these things are coming in overnight and you know first thing in the morning, these are all going to be happening, is it best to just schedule your mornings to know that this stuff's coming in so that it's in the schedule? Or is it best to schedule other stuff and then have this come in and then blow off other things that needed to be done?
So yeah, so it would be better to schedule it, you know, to be done, but I always prioritize the clients, the meetings, all of that stuff. So it just gets pushed to the end of the day or after hours.
Interesting. Interesting. Tom, you're on mute, buddy. I can see your yips moving, but I see nothing coming. I hear nothing.
Well, it was a snarky comment about you. No, it wasn't. What Robbie was saying, oh, Robbie, if you could say what you said again, because what I had to say was awesome. I don't remember what I was saying.
No, I was just saying that, so yes, it would be good to prioritize my morning to deal with these things that come in overnight. However, what I always tend to do is prioritize the meetings with clients, the lead, you know, the stuff that's making me money. And then that falls to either later in the day or after hours or a mad scramble to get it all done. You know?
And yeah, that's my weakness. If I throw the word into, I don't mean to offend, but
No.
It occurs to me that those things that are important, I mean, you need to have all these things scheduled. And so I'm a real estate agent, and so many agents' attitude is, as soon as somebody calls, I've got to react. Well, a doctor doesn't do that, and a lawyer doesn't, you know, whatever, they get to you. And so when you time block, and that goes back to our original question, which is, you know, the effective use of your time. So I have to do all these things. And so when you allow, hey, I want to meet with you. Okay, I have 2 o'clock today or 4 o'clock tomorrow. Then that gives them options, and it allows you to say, no, not now, but I do have time later.
Yes, right.
So I can't really do that in my business, like, because especially right now, we have orders that have to be processed. And like, sometimes I have to drop everything to do what I can for the customer to like uphold our standard. And so that's where I'm having a lot of difficulty in prioritizing, because it's like, I'll start to do something and then I have to drop something to go do customer service or go process an order. And I think I'm just in a spiral right now where it's like,
so how do you get notified that, I mean, how do you know that suddenly you have to go and do whatever?
Via text, email, or if we get an order through Shopify, etc.
So if you put your phone down or turned it on mute for an hour and did whatever you had to do, is that?
That's a really solid point. Yeah, it wouldn't kill me. There's just so much to do.
Right. But I mean,
it's a really good
now
point.
You're multitasking, which is such a myth. And so you're doing this, and then you got to go back and remember what you were doing. And then, oh, shoot, what was that person's last name? I can't find it. I only put down their first name on the label, and then the phone rang.
Yep.
Well, it's really interesting, guys. You guys, we've circled this wagon before, because what you're telling me is you're subservient. Remember, if you guys are in the midst of a conversation with a customer or a vendor or something, you never answer your phones. You never hang up on one customer to answer the phone for another one. The principle behind what I'm saying is this, is you've got to start treating yourselves as your number one customer. If you don't make the time for the task in front of you, it always turns into a reactive. Well, they might give me money. Well, they might not. I err on the side of self-mastery is about knowing if it's an existing customer or it's a customer like for you, Tom. Right now, is the housing market a little bit crazy?
A little bit. Yeah, no, take that word out.
Just a little bit. But you have to react really quickly. But if you're in the middle of another customer that you're working on an offer for, do you hang up on them and answer the phone?
No, and and I'll take, like, this week there's a Grant Cardone 10X real estate challenge. And so while that's going on, the phone is not only muted, but it's upside down in someplace else, because there's nothing, that can't wait an hour.
Well, and that's my point.
Right.
I did executive coach training for 78 coaches on Tuesday. I bring that up because I set the precedence before we went in. Here's how this is going to play out. It's Zoom. We have coaches all over the world. Second, their camera had to be on. Third, if they were caught doing anything other than paying attention, they would be fined $100 a time. Do you know how many emails I got before the coaching session about people like, I have this scheduled, I know this, because they're all coaches. They know what congruency is. So what would happen is if you treated yourself like a customer and every time you did something else when you were in the midst of working on a project for your business, you find yourself $100 a time. How often would you stop working on the project in front of you and flit off into doing something else?
And make that even more intense. And just when you find yourself, you have to give it to somebody with an opposing political view, or the other, whatever that other party is. Oh, or, I'm giving it. Yeah. Oh, no, I'm not doing that.
Hey, why don't you just give it to me? I can be the finer for you.
You are finer.
No, but seriously, think about it for a second. Go ahead, Tanner.
I just wanted to address, because Tom, especially as a real estate agent, being in that market and having the ability to say, no, this is the time that's available. Think about what that does to you personally from a mental state and being able to do this long term. I've been in lending, so kind of that very reactionary. Okay, a potential client calls, you got to take the call. It's always on. It's never never turned off. But burnout is so real when you start being very, very, very reactive. So the question is, do you want to continue to be in business 5 years from now, or do you just want to do this for as hard as you can for a year and a half? It's about that longevity and being able to put in these stops. And Brian, for a business like yours, I'd even suggest, when was the last time that you actually sat down and said, okay, what does this position look like that can handle this customer service piece? What does that organizational chart look like, so that you can start identifying what that looks like and eventually put people in it? That may not be a position you can fill today, but it might be 6 months from now. So that going back to systems, having it put together, but it's so important as business owners today that we focus on what is the longevity. How do we keep our mental state where we need it to be, so that our business, our efforts continue to have an impact beyond just the next 12 months.
Yeah, one thing that I would say is that it all takes practice. And so I have every morning, I have a 7:30 call with an agent in Arizona and an 8 o'clock call with an agent in Minnesota. And we do affirmations and we talk about scripts and we talk about what our day is and what our priorities are. And that helps give us focus. It also gives us accountability. And it's after you get over your rationalizing self, your self-defending self, your selfish self, you become more effective. And so suddenly I've got 9 listings coming up, and these forecasts that, like, so every morning I write my goals, my targets. Targets are things I'm going to knock down, and a phrase of the day or a saying of the day. And at the end of the day, I do my successes, like, and then, which we talked about last week, and I'm able to see the progress that I've made. And you kind of go, well, how did that happen? And it's a mindset thing, but all of a sudden you're training yourself. And so it's been really cool. And I got to bolt or head out pretty quick because I got to be somewhere. So, but it is amazing when you have support.
Nice, nice. All right. Love it, love it, love it. That is trademarked for me now. All right. Has this been helpful today for y'all? Oh, sorry, Tanner, go ahead.
I was just going to quickly add, as we wrap up here today, I want to thank all of you for allowing us to continue to have conversations around kind of time and self-mastery. At the end of the day, this is an incredibly important topic that does not happen overnight. As I think, Tom, you just alluded to, that it takes practice. It takes, how do we continue to learn this? So this is a topic that if we talked about this for 2 months in a row, it would still be relevant because we're continuing to learn and refine it. So excellent conversation piece, and I appreciate the feedback and kind of the thoughts from everybody on the call today.
Thank you guys for putting this together. It's really helpful, useful, and really appreciate
Yes,
it.
thank you.
And please invite more to come. We want to build this. We want to have, 50, 100 people, business owners, executives, lovers of business, just lovers of life to be here. So invite your friends and family. We want to keep this growing.
Okay, we'll do it. It was a really great call. So thank you.
Excellent. Love it.
We'll see you later.
All right, see you guys.
Bye.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.